have you noticed when you're cross-stitching that your thread seems to twist around on itself? And this can result in more knots and tangles. Well, the good news is that you're not doing anything wrong. And the even better news is that you can actually do something about it. Hi there, Stitchy friends. I'm Kat from Catkin and Lily, bringing you the best tips, tricks and tutorials so you can get the most joy from your stitching. Today I want to talk about that frustrating problem of knots and tangles in your cross-stitch thread. And it really doesn't matter how carefully you stitch, you'll just find that the threads will naturally want to twist around themselves as you go. And yes, it can even happen with one strand as well. So let's talk about how to fix this problem. And I have 3 ways that you can use to keep your thread untwisted as you stitch. And I have a little bonus tip at the end if you find that the methods that I share with you aren't working really well for you. So let's get started. So I'm using one of my cute cactus patterns here to demo for you. And you can see as I've stitched that the thread has just sort of twisted on itself. So the first way to deal with this is that you can spin your needle in the opposite direction to the way the thread has twisted, and then that's untwisted itself. Now, I don't really use this method very often, but I know that some stitchers do like it. The second method is to let your needle hang down from your fabric, and the thread will just untwist itself. Now, this is a great method, unless, like me, you're paranoid that your needle will fall off. And I find that the thread doesn't always untwist as much as I'd like. My final method is the one I use most often, and it's to push my needle right the way down to the fabric, then take the thread and run it between my finger and thumb until the strands are nicely lying parallel to each other again. And then I can bring my needle up towards the end and I'm ready to stitch. Now, this gets the best result for untangling for me. And the only downside is that if you do it a lot, then running the eye of the needle up and down your thread like this could make the thread a little bit more fluffy, and then that could be more prone to tangling, which is not good. Now, if you have a good needle, this shouldn't really be a problem, and if you're finding it is fluffing up your thread, then it could be a sign you need a new needle. But I find this method works so well for me that I only really do it maybe once per thread, so it's never been an issue for me. So my bonus tip here for you, if you try out all those methods and find that your thread is still twisting and tangling like crazy, then you might like to try cutting your thread a little bit shorter. Because the longer you're stitching with a particular piece of thread, the more prone it will be to twisting and tangling. And I know this because I like to use a really long piece of thread, which isn't always ideal. So try cutting your thread a little bit shorter and see if that helps. Now, if you found these tips helpful and you enjoyed watching the video, then please do make sure to subscribe, because I have lots more fabulous stitchy stuff on the way. Thank you so much for watching, and happy stitching!